Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us from the True Stories collection, as in, it actually happened at an event that I was actually judging. Amy controls Ashiok's Reaper, enchanted by a role that she controls. Nick plays a removal spell against this creature. Does Amy draw a card? Does the answer depend on what kind of removal spell he played? Okay, so pretty much anyone who knows how to play Magic should know that a removal spell against Ashiok's Reaper would result in all the auras that were enchanting it being put into the graveyard also. The answer to this question depends on exactly how that happens. If we're dealing with normal removal spell like a Terminate or a Fury or even combat damage, then that will destroy the Ashiok's Reaper but not the aura. Why is the aura put into the graveyard? Well, state-based actions will put it there since it won't be enchanting anything after Ashiok's Reaper leaves the battlefield. Therefore, we can say that at the time when the enchantment is put into Amy's graveyard, Ashiok's Reaper has already left the battlefield, meaning that its ability will not trigger. We can get some more interesting possibilities if we use a spell that destroys both the aura and the Ashiok's Reaper though. So, like this Casualties of War is a bad example because it first destroys the creature before the enchantment, meaning that we would have exactly the same answer as before. On the other hand, this Akroma's Vengeance destroys the creatures and enchantments all at the same time. Usually the game checks to see what triggered abilities exist immediately after any event, but Ashiok's Reaper has a leaves the battlefield trigger, which means that it gets special handling and it will see anything that leaves the battlefield at the same time as it, meaning that you would get to draw a card if an Akroma's Vengeance killed your Ashiok's Reaper while it had one of your auras on it. If you're curious about why Casualties of War destroys things in a sequence but Akroma's Vengeance destroys them all at once, or would like some more information about what other kind of triggered abilities get that sort of special handling, I put a couple of videos in the description where I went over those topics in some detail, so you can check those out. Clot's Will is another interesting case. If you choose both modes, then you could kill Ashiok's Reaper and an aura attached to it. Lethally damaged creatures are destroyed via a state-based action, which does not happen until after all the steps in a resolving spell are completed. Thus, even though the damage happens before the enchantment is destroyed, the Ashiok's Reaper will not leave the battlefield until after the aura does, meaning that you would get to draw a card in this case. For my money, the most interesting variant to this question that I could think of is this last one. Let's say that Amy plays a cut-in against her own Ashiok's Reaper that already has one of her rolls attached to it, and she chooses to put the Young Hero's roll on Ashiok's Reaper in its place. In this case, neither Ashiok's Reaper nor the old roll is destroyed during the resolution of the spell. Both of these are state-based actions, which means that they happen at the same time, immediately afterwards. Like we said before, the triggered ability on Ashiok's Reaper looks back in time, meaning that it considers the game state immediately before that happens when deciding if it should trigger. Accordingly, Amy would get to draw a card in this case, just like the Akroma's Vengeance scenario. So the way that this would officially play out would be something like this. First, state-based actions would destroy the Ashiok's Reaper because it has lethal damage on it. And at the same time, the second roll that is attached to it is also going to go into the graveyard. And so, since both of these happen at the same time, Amy would get to draw a card from that roll dying. Afterwards, the other roll that was still attached to the Ashiok's Reaper is going to be put into the graveyard after this, and that is not going to result in a card draw for Amy because the Ashiok's Reaper has already died. So this question kind of combines all the previous situations into just one scenario. Pretty cool, right? But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.